What is going on, guys? It's Bandit FX, and in this video, I'm going to be covering my long-term analysis for US30, basically just for the week ahead. Typically, most of my trades are scalp trades or intraday trades, but I'm seeing that we could catch a pretty good swing here on US30 now that we're starting to come down. So let's take a look at the weekly chart for one, just so we have an idea of where we're going. So we have this supply zone up here just around 35,000, and our most recent support is down here at 33,000. Now, keep in mind, this is just based off the weekly time frame. So actually, I'm just going to put a line here for this just to make it a little bit cleaner on lower time frames. But if you take a look at the daily time frame now, we started to trend up, right? A little bit of consolidation here. Couldn't really break the previous high. Like we attempted multiple times, rejected it, and then we have this big bearish engulfing candle coming down right now. So, um, taking a look at the daily time frame, if you're paying attention to the swings of everything, let's see. We got a low here. Price made a high. Price made a higher low, higher high, um, and then a higher high. Now we got price coming down. So seeing where price is right now, we're starting to see those highs and lows start to get much closer to each other, indicating that there is a little bit of buyer's exhaustion coming into the market right now. But if you do take a look at the 4-hour time frame, let's see, break it down here. Okay, so the 4 hour is starting to flip, right? We had this little consolidation area. We had a high created, a low, higher high, higher low. Now we had not really a higher high because the candles actually closed lower. And then a lower low formed, similar high, and then now we're breaking the lows again. So this is showing me that price tried to move up higher, and now we're starting to make lower lows, and we should be making lower highs on the 4-hour time frame. So first thing I'm going to do is just draw the fib out here just to see where the 618 comes in relation here on the 4-hour time frame. It's right at 34,500, which is a very psychological level. Round numbers do tend to be psychological, and you'll see a lot of market structure there. So if we go ahead and draw just a line right through the middle of that, if you take a look to the left, even on the daily time frame, but we're going to do it on the 4-hour first, you're going to see, there was a resistance here. It acted as support. It acted as resistance. It acted as support several times for basically the bottom of this range, and then it was resistance here as well, and then one more time as support. So this is a very significant level. We can see a bounce here, especially because taking a look on the daily time frame, this is basically the daily fib. I just drew it on the 4-hour, but taking a look at the swing highs, swing lows, we had this swing low right here, drawing from the bottom of the wick to the top of the wick, basically from swing low, swing high, coming down to the 618 level. It also does show up on the daily time frame. So you have a daily support right here, a daily resistance, a daily support. Basically, like I said before, at the bottom of this range, daily resistance, and then this bottom wick, even though you can't see it on this time frame, was that daily support that had formed. It was basically the retest. So what I'm really expecting for on US30 this upcoming week is at least Monday we should continue down here to the 618, maybe Monday, Tuesday, whatever it is. But I am going to be looking for buys in this level around the 618 because it has several confluences that are showing me where price may be headed. The first thing is obviously it's the 618, which this is basically the golden zone of Fibonacci. If you guys are familiar with Fibonacci, 618 is a very, very well-known level, and it does get respected more often than not. The second thing is that it does line up with market structure like we just went over. It has been support and resistance previous times in the past, numerous times, as well as it being at a very psychological level, 34,500. So with that being said, what I'm going to be doing is monitoring US30 on lower time frames, waiting for us to see some sort of seller's exhaustion here, and then for us to get a buy opportunity around the 618 level. Now, if price comes down to this level and we don't see any sort of support form, we don't see sellers exhaustion, then there is no trade. You have to wait for that confirmation in order to enter the trade. You can't just go based off of it just hitting the 618 level. And basically, I'm going to go into in depth why. And it's basically, the other scenario with US30 right now. We basically have two scenarios I'm looking for, and this is the other one. So if you're taking a look at the weekly time frame, right? This weekly time frame, we just closed bearish. So we just created a weekly resistance, right? Now, if you're taking a look at, swing lows, swing highs of this, technically on the weekly, we made a lower low here than previous, right? So we have a similar high and a lower low. This high closed higher than the previous, but not really. So I'm just going to consider it as like a triple top almost. But if you take a look at these three candles, this is somewhat of an evening star, even though it didn't completely play out. It's not that formation, but if you do know that wicks do get filled, 34,000 flat is a possibility, right? Because of this wick and the fact that we have a resistance formed. So the next level on the weekly that should be tested is 34,000, which is, once again, a weekly support and a weekly resistance. So I'm going to draw this line right here. I'm just going to go ahead and label them. This is the daily support resistance level, and then we have the weekly. So like I said, I'm going to show you the two scenarios that I see happening for US30 to catch a longer swing trade here. So look at the daily time frame. I'm just going to go over it one more time. This was basically that 618 retracement on the daily. You have the push up, the 618 lines up with this level, which was support and resistance several times in the past. All right. Now, like I said, the second thing is a weekly support and resistance level, which is what we just went over. If you draw it on the weekly time frame, right? If you're drawing this fib out here, whoops, what are we coming to? This is the 38. So don't be surprised if we see a little bit steeper of a pullback, right? Because technically, when you're using Fibonacci, for it to be valid, right, and as far as a continuation goes, the high has to break, right? You have the previous high has to get broken. So I'm just gonna do this over here so you guys understand a little bit better about what I'm talking about. Let's see. I'm pretty sure this is it. Nope. It's been a while since I've used this. Whoops. I don't think it's the arrow. Whatever. I'm just going to draw it like this. But what has to happen for Fibonacci, right, is the previous high, right? So this high that we're talking about has to get broken by the next high. This one. I'm just going to go ahead and draw this out completely again, right? So for us to be able to have a valid Fibonacci, like say you draw, we have a high, swing low, swing high, swing low. This high broke the previous high. So therefore, this swing low to swing high is valid. And, obviously you're looking at this just so happens to line up with the 618. But where Fibonacci isn't really valid is when you get something like this, where there's a triple top. Now, the high didn't really get broken. It did, but very slightly. So there is that sort of buyer's exhaustion here. We're starting to slow down a little bit. So don't be surprised if we do get a much bigger retracement. Taking a look at US30 on the weekly, obviously it's just a consistent charge upwards, but we haven't had a real big pullback in a while. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm not looking at, any kind of crazy crash or anything like that. Obviously, fundamentals do play a lot into US30. And, if we're going to talk about fundamentals, this video could be, 45 minutes to an hour long, and, I'll have no voice at the end of it. But, yeah, so basically what we're looking at here is the two levels, one of them being the weekly 618, which is right here, which, as you can see before, has been support for the bottom of this daily range for a while, right? Support here as well. So we could see basically that higher low being created on higher time frames, right here at just around 33,800. But in the other scenario, which is the daily time frame, right, we're going to be talking. Oh, I just did that completely wrong. Sorry, I marked the wrong level. So, my bad, guys. That's what we're talking about right here. So, taking a look at the weekly again. Let me just do this over. Weekly time frame 618. No, 33,800. It was right. I don't know what I'm talking about. So yeah, guys, this is basically what we're going to be looking for as far as a steeper retracement if we don't get the daily confirmation on lower time frames. So if the weekly sell scenario plays out, and for that to happen, we'd have to get a break below 34,130. Basically, this candle low would have to break in order to invalidate the first setup on the daily time frame and then switch to the weekly bias, right? So obviously candles are trending upwards, the highs and lows are being respected, candles are continuously trending upwards. Even though we do have a resistance, the candle still made a higher high than the previous and did not create a lower low. Now, once candles start creating lower lows and lower closes, that's when we're starting to see a higher time frame retracement. So I'm going to leave this here. We're going to drop it back down to the daily and look at it a little bit closer on the daily fib. So daily fib right here. Go ahead and draw it. That's 618 level, like we discussed earlier. 34,500 right on the dot. So regardless, I do think we're going to get a fairly good trade on the daily time frame. I don't think we're going to retrace all the way to the weekly, but it's always good to zoom out, as far as you can and see, the possibilities. This is why it's important that you guys wait for confirmations, wait for a higher time frame confirmation in order to take a trade, such as like an hour, 4-hour time frame, when trading in relation to the daily. Don't just when you hit the 618 retracement, that's not just an automatic, okay, we're buying it, or okay, we're selling it. You have to wait for price to actually show you that, hey, sellers have kind of tapped out here, and we got buyers coming in the market. So 34,500 is what I'm looking for, long-term swing trade to the upside, as far as buys. And then the other scenario, like I said, about 33,800 on the weekly time frame. So that's basically it, guys, for US30. Let me know what you guys think about this video. Leave a like, leave a comment, and if you haven't already, please subscribe.